I also don't have kids, and I like to get that out just right away. And not because I don't like kids. I love kids. They make most of my clothes.
Erica Sigurdson is one of the featured comedians for the first ever Stampede Stand-up. You may be familiar with her from her appearances on CBC Radio's The Debaters. Stampede Stand-up is at the BMO Centre on Friday, July 11th. And joining me is Erica Sigurdson. Great to see you today.
Thank you. Good morning.
So what do you expect from a stand-up show at the Calgary Stampede?
I don't actually know what I expect. I've heard wild things about the Calgary Stampede. I have never personally attended. I've been to many rodeos. I have not been to the Calgary Stampede. I hear it could get kind of wild. So I'm not sure. I'm excited. I may feel like I'm riding a bull trying to hold on for 8 seconds, but I don't know.
Well, it sounds like it could be a lot of fun. You might have a very boisterous crowd. We'll have to see. Now, tell us a bit about yourself.
We'll see.
You're originally from the West Coast. You've been with the same common law spouse for 20 plus years now. No kids. So you are the fun, boozy aunt, right?
Yes, I mean, I do actually love children. I just, this career does not lend itself to having kids. So I chose comedy, and that may be something I regret in my old age, but we'll see.
Do you remember the first time you did stand-up?
Oh, yes, of course. I was so nervous the entire day. I would just be walking and then suddenly fold over, grab my head and be like, what have I done? Why am I doing this? But I invited 50 friends and family to come and watch me for my very first set, which is really a lot of pressure. You do not want to bomb the first time you go up in front of, so the rest of your life, everyone can be like, remember when you tried that thing? That was terrible. But it went okay. So they actually encouraged me to do it again.
And it was an open mic night.
It wasn't an open mic night. No, it was, there was a professional headliner. But yes, everybody else was pretty much, it was planned though. I had booked myself on the show or else I wouldn't have invited 50 people, but yeah.
And how were the feelings immediately after the show compared to before the show?
I loved it. The first second I had the mic in my hand, the lights in my face, and the first laugh that I got, I just knew, I was like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. It's the only thing that I've, besides my husband, stuck with for 25 years. So I just knew that this is what I wanted to do.
Obviously, it has worked out for you. We do get the impression that this is kind of a golden age of comedy. We see all these comedy specials on Netflix and so forth. Is it really a great time to be doing comedy?
It is a great time to be doing comedy. I mean, there are when I started was in the early 2000s, and stand-up had just come out of the heyday of really becoming an art form. I always feel weird when I call stand-up an art form, but it is an art form. And so the early 2000s were kind of a bit less crazy, and not as many people went out to comedy. I met tons of people who had never seen a stand-up comedy show. And now it's with the Netflix specials and Amazon specials, there's so much more of a desire to go see it, and you can go to other places other than just a comedy club. And with, I think COVID, though it was terrible for live entertainment, it really made comics and all entertainers step outside of the box. And now we have things like the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, which I don't think you would have seen, before COVID, that a bunch of people would go watch stand-up outside. It sounds like a recipe for a disaster, but it's worked out really well. So yeah, it's really an exciting time. And I think a lot more people are getting into comedy, or at least trying it. And it's something, if you want to do it, you should try it.
You've also done lots of writing for TV shows as well, for the animated version of Corner Gas, for example. How much do you enjoy writing for other performers?
Well, writing for television is different than, say, getting hired to write for a different stand-up performer, because if I thought something was really funny, I wouldn't want to give it away to a different stand-up comedian. But I actually, in my early days, did get hired to write for Yakov Smirnoff, which I don't know if you remember him.
I remember him, yes.
Oh, it was myself and 3 other comedians, and we were hired to write for him. And I remember sitting he had like a big boardroom in a hotel, and we're writing, and it was so surreal because I remember as a kid watching him on Night Court, and my dad thought he was so funny, and I was like, I cannot believe I'm in a hotel room right now, you know, with other people writing for Yakov Smirnoff. So it was, yeah, that was a really surreal feeling, but it is weird when you're a comedian, you don't want to give away, you know, super funny things that you think might work for you. So television is kind of nice because you're writing for a character that is probably absolutely nothing like you unless you've got your own sitcom, in which case you're writing for yourself. So, but I do enjoy it. Where was
Yakov Smirnoff performing? I understand at one point he had a residency in Branson, Missouri.
I think he owns that comedy club. Don't quote me, but he was in Vancouver for a period of time working on some sort of show for couples. I cannot remember the details, but he performed at the Comedy Mix, which was a very popular club in Vancouver, which unfortunately is no longer there. And he came up for about 6 weeks. And so we would write, he would try the material, we would write, he would try the material. And then we got paid. It was really weird.
Okay, before we go here, I've got a couple of rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Worst gig you ever had?
Oh gosh, worst gig I ever had. And they always involve driving, and they almost always involve a northern town that has Prince Port or Fort in the name. I have no idea why, but driving 8 hours to get to a gig and walking in and having the bar staff say, "What are you doing here?" And they had booked us on the wrong night. So we had driven 8 hours to get to this gig. We were there, like, not just the wrong night, the wrong week. So there was no way. So then there was a contract. It was their fault. So then they made us go up and perform in front of about 7 regulars who did not want stand-up comedy. It was stand-up comedy against their will, but they made us do an hour-and-a-half show or we wouldn't get paid. And it was so humiliating.
Wow. I understand, though, this may be a different category of worst gig, but you performed for the Canadian troops in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you came under fire?
Yes, we did. Right before the show, I was standing outside with a couple, just chatting with some soldiers, and I heard one of them yell, "Incoming," and everybody hit the dirt except for me. We had been trained what to do, forgot everything. I ran inside the canvas tent because, you know, that's what protects you if you're getting bombed. And yeah, we had to go into bomb shelters. And then I had to perform. I was the next performer up because they bombed us 3 times in one night. So we'd go into a bomb shelter. There would be an all clear. We'd come back. They bombed us during, I think, Mark Critch's set. We had to leave, and then I was the next comic up, and it was very unnerving to walk out on stage. Just in the back of your mind, you're telling jokes, and you're thinking like, "Oh gosh, are we about to get bombed?" So yeah, that was, I guess, the craziest gig.
So when you hear about people bombing on stage, you know that it can literally get much worse than that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you actually don't have any idea.
Yeah. Okay. Best gig you ever had?
Well, you know, same time, I would almost put that show up with the best gig I ever had because there were soldiers, not just from the Canadian military, but there was Americans. There was some came from every country that was in the airfield, and the appreciation that they had that we came there to perform for them in the middle of a war was amazing. And it was probably one of the best. You felt good all around. They loved the jokes. They loved that we were there. They wanted to talk to us after the show. You know, it was the scariest gig, but it was also the most rewarding and the best gig too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, if you weren't doing comedy, what would you be doing for a living?
Oh, I think I would be in events planning. I love, like, the travel part of comedy. A lot of people hate plan. I love doing that kind of things. Give me any sort of travel issue. I love working it out. So I think I'd be like event planning, travel. I'm not sure. I did want to be a lawyer as a child, but then I realized how much school you had to go to. So I thought, let's try comedy.
Well, listen, enjoy your trip to Calgary and have a great gig at the Stampede.
Thank you. I can't wait.
All right, thanks for joining us. And the Stampede Stand-up is Friday, July 11th at the Stage of Wonders in the BMO Centre. It is a licensed 18-plus venue.